Today's video is going to focus on the series I'm planning to read from sci-fi and fantasy in 2026. Some of these series I've already begun in 2025, others I haven't touched yet, but I'm excited to get to. Originally, I had 8 series chosen for sci-fi and fantasy, but then another one jumped in for fantasy, so it's going to be uneven. But let us begin with the sci-fi series I hope to get to in 2026. These books are also in no particular order. The first sci-fi series I want to get to is called The Kingdom Trilogy. The first book follows a thief who has got the score of a lifetime, and she is being pursued by 2 clerics, and then there is a ghost that is pursuing all of them, and no one has any idea what that ghost wants. It sounds like a really fun beginning to a trilogy, and I'm excited to see what it has in store for me. I just had to go digging for a book that I thought I had, and I did have, but it was not in my pile that was prepped and ready for this video. The next series I want to get to in 2026, though I don't think I'm going to finish this series in this year, is The Expanse. I've heard so many great things about the series when I was looking up lists of what to read in sci-fi with the focus on space opera. This was the #1 book always, and I know a lot of people like the show. And one interesting fact that I learned when I was doing some more research on this series is that the author is 2 people. So that's pretty cool. The next series I'm interested in is the Machinery series. This series is by Yoon Ha Lee. This is another big space opera. I have seen people recommend this, but not a ton. So I'm kind of interested to see what it's about. The first book seems to focus on a captain who needs to redeem themselves in the eyes of the military and seems to be going on a military campaign. This first book sets up a very intriguing start to the series for me. The next series I want to get to is a duology, and this is the Earthseed duology by Octavia E. Butler. I'm kind of nervous to read this one, honestly. It was published originally in 1993, and it talks about what 2024 is going to look like, and the author was right on the money, basically, and what we're experiencing right now in 2025. I know when I'm going to read it, it's going to be a hard read, and it might just make me more angry about the world in general right now, but I think it's an important read, so I can't wait to read that duology. The next series I'm interested in is A Memory Called Empire. This is the first book in the series. This is another space opera that's highly recommended. It starts with an ambassador going to the capital, and they learn that the person who was supposed to help guide them through their new position is now dead, and they have no idea how that happened, and no one's admitting to what happened. So this has political intrigue written all over it. I'm very, very excited to get into it. When it comes to the most anticipated sci-fi series for 2026 for me that I have not begun reading, it would be this one, which is Sun Eater. This is the first book in the series. I believe there's like 7. And all I know is that you're following one single guy who used to be a hero, is not a hero anymore, possibly, and it's a journey of a lifetime. That's all I know. That's kind of all I need to know. All my friends who read high fantasy love this series, or at least enjoy it enough to continue, and the later books are definitely better than the first. So I'm excited to delve into this. I'm also nervous. It's also 7 books long, so I don't know if I'll finish this series in a year, but I am excited to delve in. Okay, the last 2 series are ones that I'm already in, and I'm very excited to continue with. The first is the Devoured Worlds trilogy. I just finished Blighted Stars, I believe, last week at this point. I was surprised at how much I ate up the story, how much I loved our 2 main protagonists. I can't wait to see where this story goes. I am really hoping no one else dies, though. And I don't think that will happen. I think more people will die, but let's hope the 2 main characters don't. And the last sci-fi series I'm going to mention is the Children of Time series. At this point, it's not a trilogy anymore. It's a series because the 4th book is now coming out early next year, I think. Pretty sure. I have the 2nd book now, so I'm definitely going to be getting to it probably within the next month because this was such a good book. I can't remember if I've talked about it on here, if like I did it in a reading vlog, but basically Children of Time is humans are trying to find planets that they can live on. However, there are some scientists that are just trying to do experiments on other worlds, and a specific one who I heavily dislike, this doctor and this character, was trying to make sentient monkeys on the planet. Like that was what she was trying to do. Monkeys died, unfortunately. This also happens all in the first chapter, so I'm not spoiling anything. The monkeys unfortunately die, but the solution that was going to make them go through the evolution process more quickly didn't blow up. So a different creature got to it, and the book completely focuses on how that species and then how humans are trying to live on the same planet and how that works out in the end. The first book was so good. It was such a quiet and soft story with sci-fi as the background, but really well done, and I can't wait to begin the next book. So that's all the sci-fi that I have on my list of wanting to get to in 2026 for now. There's definitely going to be more later, but we're going to start there. And now let's head over to my fantasy series that I would like to get to in 2026. I'm going to start with the series that I added to this list preemptively because I forgot that this book has also been sitting on my TBR for a few years now. So that would be the Covenant of Steel trilogy by Anthony Ryan. I have read this author before. I read his other trilogy way long ago. I think it was like 2019 or 2018 when I read his stuff. I really enjoyed that story. It used to be in my top 5 fantasy reads, but eventually it fell off because I found a lot of other good stories that rank higher than that story, honestly. And especially now that I can't remember what fully happened in that trilogy at all, I think it was good to let it go out of my top 5. But he put out a new trilogy, I think starting a couple years ago, and so this is the first book in that trilogy. It's in the same world as the last one, so I'm excited about that because I really did enjoy it. So we'll see what this brings. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I'm excited to pick it up when I do. Okay, this next book has also been on my TBR stack for a while. This is the Legacy trilogy by Matthew Ward, and it's a very heavy, chunky book, which is why I realized maybe I should get to this one. This was published, I think, a few years ago as well, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this trilogy, so that's why I'm intrigued. It seems that our world is in a stage of war, and people have to put down their differences in order to help save their homeland. So I hope to get to this soon. Again, we've got a lot of series I want to get to, and this is a large book, so we'll see when I get to it. One of the last few books on my TBR that I bought in 2020 is the Reborn Empire series by Devin Madsen. The story focuses on an empire that was built on war, and now it's falling apart due to war. I picked this up originally because I was intrigued by the premise, and all 3 books were going to be out relatively quickly in publishing, so I think now is the time that I finally get to it 6 years later. The next series I don't have the book for, but is the Empires of Dust series by Anna Smith Spark, and this one came recommended, I believe, recently. I saw someone reviewing it. It's a grimdark tale that focuses on a knight who is a woman, and it's pretty gruesome. I just read the reviews this morning, and it seems to be a little bit of a decisive book. It doesn't have high ratings, but for those who do love it, really love it, and for those that don't, it's just not their taste. So we'll see what my view is once I start reading. The next series I want to get to is the Foundryside trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett. This trilogy has been out for a while now, and what I can remember is that the first book focuses on a thief, and the magic system is tiny, or like it's objects based, where like the magic has to be in an object to use it, and it's about material versus innate will that most magic systems focus on in other fantasy stories. So I don't know what the entire premise of the trilogy is, but I do remember a lot of people enjoying the first book, and I'd really like to get my hands on it at some point in 2026. Okay, this series is recent, and it is The Nameless Republic. I picked this book back up in October. In this book, we're following a mage who feels very small in his city and is trying to figure out new ways of magic. And when he goes out to find more ideas and also trying to get past the walls of the city, he finds someone doing magic that he's never seen before, and he investigates. And that's how we start this series. I know the second book is coming out in 2026, so I kind of want to be on top of this series as much as possible. This will probably be read in the first quarter of 2026. Okay, this is the last series that I'm trying to get to in 2026 that I haven't started yet. And this one has been on everyone's, I think, top 5 or top 10 series of all time. And I feel like the reason that I did not start this trilogy sooner is because I had read so much of this author's work already, so I knew I was going to enjoy it. So I just wanted to wait until the trilogy was done. So now it's published, and I think it's been fully published for like over a year at this point. So maybe I should get to The Bloodsworn Saga by John Gwynne. I have read The Faithful and the Fallen. I have read the follow-up trilogy after The Faithful and the Fallen. I really like Gwynne's writing. Specifically, he's the best writer still for fantasy battles. I swear to you, he is the best writer for them. I don't know where he gets it. Maybe it's him doing all the stuff with LARPing. I don't know if he calls it LARPing, but it's basically LARPing. But I'm excited to get to this, and I know it deals with Norse mythology, which I know a fair amount of at this point. So I'm excited to see what he's done with that mythology and to see what happens. I've also seen a lot of people have some favorite characters in here. So I'm excited to get to this because I know I'm going to have a good time. Finally, the 2 series that I just began in December of this year that I'm going to be continuing into 2026. The first is The Drowning Empire by Andrea Stewart. I read The Bone Shard Daughter earlier this month. I had a good time and I would like to continue. If you don't know the premise, it is a world where if you use a bone shard of another person in magic, you can make bone constructs that are incredibly creepy and also very good at what they do. And I loved pretty much all the characters we got in this story, so I really want to see how their stories progress in the second and third books. And lastly, I saved the best for last because honestly, this book surprised me so much on how much I loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and the fact that I read it at the end of the year makes it so wild, and I really, really wish I had read this book sooner so that I could have read this trilogy sooner. But it is Between Earth and Sky by Rebecca Roanhorse. This, specifically, The Black Sun, is fantastic and everyone needs to read it, especially if you love adult fantasy. You need to start reading this trilogy. Again, I wish I had started it sooner. In this book, we're following 4 different people. The first is someone who is going on their own path, even though they didn't choose it. The second person is a priest who's dealing with a lot of politics. The third is a sea captain who is down on her luck. And the fourth is a young man in war college who has no idea what's going on in the world. And it's a great time. A scary time, but a really, really great time. And thanks to a close friend of mine, I was able to get the second book for Christmas from them. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is probably going to be the first book I read in 2026 or the second one. Probably the first one though, because I'm way too excited to get to this series again. So that is all of the series I am planning to get to in 2026. Will I get to all of them? I highly doubt it, but I think I'm going to get to a good chunk of them. And if I could at least read all the first books of the series / second, depending on where I am in the series, I think I'm doing good. Though I am a person that doesn't read a ton of books per year, and just by the amount I have seen here and plus the reread of Malazan, I don't know how many of these series I'm actually going to be finishing in 2026. But I did say I wanted to start in 2026. I did not say I would finish all of these in 2026. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in my last video of 2025, which will be my best and worst reads of 2025. Bye! You can see my nail imprints in there. Ooh.